cosm. Whoosh.
The universe is vast beyond measure, a boundless ocean of space and time whose shores are forever receding from our understanding. In the quiet of night, when we lift our eyes to the sky, we are reminded that what appears as a scattering of faint lights is in truth a glimpse into infinity. Every star is a sun, every sun a potential world, every world a possibility of life, and every breath we take is tied by invisible threads to this grand cosmic fabric. We are not merely observers. We are participants in an unfolding story written across billions of years, a story whose chapters are inscribed in starlight. The cosmos began in silence, a silence older than memory, older than thought. From a seed smaller than imagination, space expanded, and time itself awoke. In those first moments, matter and energy danced in a furious, incandescent embrace, giving birth to the laws that would govern all things. The atoms that would one day form oceans and mountains, forests and eyes, were forged in the fire of creation. The background hum of that primeval moment still whispers around us today, the faint cosmic microwave echo, a reminder of our shared origin with galaxies billions of light years away. As the universe cooled, stars ignited like lanterns in the darkness. Within their blazing hearts, hydrogen fused into helium, and helium into heavier elements. In their death throes, stars scattered those elements into the void, enriching space with the seeds of planets and life. Carbon, oxygen, iron, calcium. These familiar companions were born in the furnaces of distant suns. To speak of the universe is to speak of alchemy on the grandest scale, where death begets creation and endings give rise to beginnings. Galaxies swirled together like immense whirlpools of stars. Some collided, merging in violent yet graceful unions, reshaping themselves into new forms. Others drifted alone through the endless dark, silent witnesses to epochs longer than the lifespan of any world. Our own Milky Way is one among hundreds of billions, a spiral stretched across 100,000 light-years, glowing with the combined light of more stars than we could ever count. Somewhere within its curving arms lies our sun, a modest star with a family of worlds, cradling a small planet where matter achieved the miracle of consciousness. On that tiny world, oceans gathered and storms raged, lightning split the skies, and simple molecules found one another in a cosmic chemistry that began the story of life. Over eons, life learned to breathe, to grow, to reach toward the sky. It became forests, wings, eyes that looked up at the stars in wonder. And in one fleeting epoch, a creature emerged that asked questions of the heavens, built instruments to listen to the whispers of light, and dreamed of stepping beyond its home. That creature is us, the children of stardust who learned to hear the universe speaking through equations and poetry. But the cosmos is not static. It is in motion, forever stretching, forever changing. Galaxies rush apart like embers carried on a cosmic wind. The very fabric of space expands, carrying with it the future and the past. We are adrift in this motion, yet connected to it intimately. Every heartbeat is measured against the ticking of cosmic time. Every thought is a ripple of energy in a universe that has been unfolding for nearly 14 billion years. In the silence between galaxies, mysteries linger. Dark matter weaves invisible scaffolding, shaping the clustering of galaxies, unseen but undeniable. Dark energy pushes space apart, a force whose nature defies our comprehension, yet whose effects sculpt the destiny of all things. The fate of the cosmos may be to expand forever, until stars grow cold and galaxies drift into infinite isolation. Or perhaps it will curve back upon itself, collapsing into a fiery rebirth. We do not yet know. We live suspended between possibility and mystery, like voyagers charting a map whose edges dissolve into the unknown. And yet, despite its immensity, the universe is knowable. Light travels across gulfs of space to reach us, carrying messages from the distant past. A photon born in the core of a star 1,000,000 years ago may end its journey in the back of our eye, whispering a story from across the ages. To look at the night sky is to see history, to witness time itself stretched across the heavens. Every star is a memory, every galaxy an archive of what has been. We are surrounded by grandeur, and yet we are fragile. Our planet is a thin blue crescent suspended in blackness, a delicate oasis of air and water in a universe that is otherwise indifferent to life. To care for it is not merely a moral duty but a cosmic necessity. For if consciousness is rare, if we are among the few sparks of awareness in this vast expanse, then preserving that spark becomes the most profound responsibility we can imagine. In our age, we have extended our senses beyond Earth. We have sent probes to wander the solar system, to skim past the rings of Saturn, to drift into interstellar space carrying messages for unknown listeners. We have built telescopes that gather ancient light, peering back to the dawn of galaxies. With each discovery, the universe becomes both more immense and more intimate, for in its vastness we find echoes of ourselves. The elements of our blood, the iron in our veins, the calcium in our bones, all trace their lineage to stars that lived and died before the Earth was born. We are not apart from the cosmos. We are its children, its witnesses, and its storytellers. As we gaze outward, we are also drawn inward. The universe is not only out there, in galaxies and nebulae, but also within us, written into the spirals of DNA, into the firing of neurons, into the questions we ask of existence. To know the universe is to know ourselves, for the boundary between observer and observed dissolves in the realization that we are the cosmos made conscious. Through us, the universe contemplates itself, wonders at its origins, and dreams of its future. There is a poetry to the cosmos that transcends numbers, though numbers are its language. Equations describe the arc of planets and the bending of light, yet beneath those equations lies a music, a rhythm of creation and destruction, of birth and collapse. The stars are not silent. They sing in the frequencies of radiation, in the pulses of quasars, in the whisper of gravitational waves. If we could hear with the ears of the universe, we would find that space itself hums with a cosmic symphony, a harmony that stretches from the smallest particle to the largest cluster of galaxies. And we, tiny beings on a pale world, have learned to listen. With radio telescopes and detectors sensitive to the faintest signals, we have tuned ourselves to the cosmic song. We have mapped the invisible, charted the unthinkable, and dreamed of the unreachable. And though the distances are immense, though the odds seem insurmountable, the very act of seeking binds us to something greater. To explore is to affirm that we belong to this universe, that we are not merely passengers but participants in its unfolding story. Among the most mysterious structures in the cosmos are black holes, regions where gravity reigns with such intensity that not even light can escape. They are the remnants of massive stars that, upon exhausting their fuel, collapsed under their own weight, curving the fabric of spacetime into a well from which there is no return. To approach the event horizon, the boundary that separates the possible from the forbidden, is to stand at the threshold of the unknowable. To an outside observer, time itself appears to slow as matter spirals inward, frozen in eternal descent. Yet from within, the fall is inexorable, a one-way journey into singularity, where the known laws of physics surrender to mystery. And yet black holes are not merely devourers. They are engines of transformation. The material that gathers around them heats to unimaginable temperatures, releasing torrents of radiation that can outshine entire galaxies. Some hurl jets of particles across intergalactic distances, shaping their surroundings with invisible power. The paradox of black holes is that in their darkness they illuminate, revealing the structure of galaxies, guiding the evolution of cosmic architecture. They are reminders that even in collapse, the universe invents new forms of grandeur. But beyond collapse, there is creation. In vast nebulae, where clouds of gas and dust swirl like colossal tapestries, new stars are born. Gravity draws matter together until pressure and heat ignite nuclear fire, and a new sun shines into the cosmos. These nurseries, painted in radiant colors by the interplay of light and shadow, are laboratories of time and possibility. Around these young stars, disks of dust gather, and from them emerge planets, moons, and asteroids. Each system is unique, a new experiment in the alchemy of worlds. Some will harbor deserts of rock, others oceans of gas, and a few may hold the delicate balance that allows for life. We now know that planets are not rare. They orbit nearly every star, scattered across the galaxy like seeds on the wind. Among them are Earth-like worlds, circling their suns in the narrow band where liquid water may flow. Astronomers have given names to some: Kepler 186f, Proxima b, TRAPPIST 1e, each a distant harbor of potential. Though separated by light years, they beckon to us with silent promise that we are not alone, that the story of life may have many verses yet to be sung. The search for these worlds is more than science. It is longing given form, the desire to know whether consciousness is a spark unique to Earth or a flame scattered through the stars. As we explore, we discover that planets come in forms stranger than imagination. There are hot Jupiters, giants that skim so close to their suns that their atmospheres boil away. There are frozen orbs locked in eternal twilight, where one hemisphere forever faces the light while the other is plunged in darkness. There are diamond planets forged of carbon under immense pressure, and water worlds where oceans stretch deeper than all the seas of Earth combined. Each discovery expands the boundaries of possibility, showing us that nature's creativity exceeds our boldest dreams. And what of life beyond Earth? The cosmos is silent, or at least we have not yet learned to hear its voices. We scan the skies for radio signals, we listen for patterns that might hint at intelligence, but the silence endures. It may be that civilizations are rare, that life seldom endures long enough to bridge the gulfs of space. Or perhaps the voices are out there, speaking in ways we do not yet comprehend. Silence itself is a mystery, and within it lies both solitude and hope. For even in silence, the search reminds us of our own fragility, of the urgency to preserve the spark of awareness that flickers on this small world. The future of our exploration is boundless. Already, machines of our making wander the planets, sampling soil, tasting atmospheres, sending back portraits of alien landscapes. Rovers crawl across the Martian desert. Probes dive into the storms of Jupiter and Saturn. The Voyager spacecraft, launched decades ago, now drift into interstellar space, carrying with them golden records inscribed with music, greetings, and images of our home. They are bottles cast into the cosmic ocean, destined to drift for millions of years, perhaps to be found, perhaps to be forgotten. Yet in their journey lies a profound truth, that we have stepped beyond ourselves, that we have begun the long migration into the wider universe. What future awaits the stars themselves? In billions of years, our sun will swell into a red giant, consuming the inner planets, perhaps leaving behind a white dwarf, a faint ember of its former self. Across the galaxy, stars live and die in unending cycles, their lives brief or long depending on their mass. Some will explode as supernovae, scattering heavy elements into space. Others will burn gently for trillions of years, their light slowly fading. In time, the galaxy will change beyond recognition, its stars aging, colliding, merging, and extinguishing. The cosmos is a river of time, and even stars are but fleeting ripples upon its surface. And beyond stars, beyond galaxies, lies the larger fate of the universe itself. Will expansion continue endlessly, stretching galaxies farther apart until the night grows dark and silent? Or will some deeper force halt the expansion, drawing everything back into collapse? We do not know. Our theories hint, our instruments probe, but the final chapters remain unwritten. We live in a moment suspended between birth and death, between beginning and end, between fire and silence. It is in that tension that our curiosity thrives, for uncertainty is the fuel of wonder. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of the cosmos, that it does not yield its secrets easily. Each discovery deepens the mystery, each answer raises new questions. To explore is to enter into dialogue with infinity, to ask questions that may not find answers in our lifetimes. And yet we ask them because to ask is to be human, to be alive, to be a fragment of the universe that has awakened to itself. In this awakening, there is humility and there is awe. Humility in knowing how small we are, how brief our lives against the backdrop of cosmic time. Awe in realizing that we are not insignificant, for we are the means by which the universe contemplates itself. In our eyes, galaxies become more than light. They become meaning. In our thoughts, the silence of the void becomes a song of possibility. In our dreams, the future stretches far beyond Earth, toward stars yet unnamed, worlds yet unseen, and horizons yet unconceived. There is a presence in the universe that we cannot see, yet we know it is there. Galaxies spin with such speed that the stars at their edges should be flung into the void, yet they remain bound, as though held by invisible hands. Clusters of galaxies bend light around them, shaping mirages across space, though the matter we see is not enough to explain their gravity. This unseen scaffold, this hidden architecture, is what we call dark matter. It neither shines nor absorbs, neither glows nor reflects, but it outweighs all the stars, all the planets, all the glowing nebulae combined. It is the silent majority of the cosmos, a shadow that defines the light. We do not yet know what dark matter is. It may be a particle beyond our current imagination, a ghostly entity that slips through ordinary matter without a trace. It may be something stranger still, a property of space itself, a clue to physics yet undiscovered. But its presence is undeniable. Without it, galaxies would unravel, cosmic webs would collapse, and the large-scale structure of the universe would dissolve into chaos. Dark matter is the invisible glue of creation, the unseen hand that shaped the galaxies we see today. To contemplate it is to admit that most of the universe is hidden from our senses, that what we call reality is only a fraction of what exists. And yet, even more elusive is dark energy. While dark matter holds the cosmos together, dark energy drives it apart. In the late 20th century, astronomers discovered that the universe is not merely expanding, but accelerating, carried outward by a force unlike any known. This acceleration suggests that space itself is imbued with energy, a pressure that defies gravity and stretches the fabric of the cosmos wider with every passing moment. Its nature is a mystery as deep as any that has ever confronted science. Some imagine it as the energy of the vacuum, the restless fluctuations of empty space. Others propose it is something even more exotic, a new field or dimension that shapes destiny itself. Together, dark matter and dark energy account for 95% of everything. The stars, planets, and atoms that compose all we know are but a thin veil, a sliver of the whole. We live upon a luminous island in an ocean of the unseen. To gaze into the sky is to glimpse only the surface of a deeper, hidden reality. And perhaps it is in this humility, this awareness of our limits, that true wonder resides. For the cosmos is not merely vast, it is mysterious, and it invites us not only to measure, but to imagine. Stretching across space is the great cosmic web, filaments of matter that span billions of light years, connecting clusters of galaxies like the threads of an infinite tapestry. Where filaments meet, galaxies cluster together, forming nodes of light and gravity. Between them lie immense voids, expanses of near emptiness where galaxies are few, silent deserts of space. This structure is the skeleton of the universe, shaped by dark matter, sculpted by gravity, revealed to us by maps of distant light. To see it is to recognize that we live not in isolation but as part of an immense network, a web whose strands extend beyond our comprehension. And yet, within this immensity, there are echoes of the delicate. Just as spider silk shapes the morning dew into jewels, so too does the cosmic web shape galaxies into spirals and clusters. Patterns repeat across scales, from the clustering of stars in globular clusters to the clustering of galaxies across billions of light years. The universe seems to favor rhythm, geometry, and repetition, as though it were composed not merely of matter but of music. To study it is to listen to a silent symphony, to trace harmonies written not in sound but in light and shadow. The fate of this symphony remains uncertain. If dark energy continues its relentless push, galaxies will drift apart until even their light cannot reach one another. The night sky will grow darker as the stars of distant galaxies slip beyond the horizon of visibility. In the far future, civilizations may look up and see only their own galaxy, unaware of the larger cosmos that once was. If instead, dark energy evolves or changes, the story may be different. Perhaps a slowing, perhaps a reversal, perhaps a destiny we cannot yet name. The uncertainty itself is part of the wonder, for it means the story is still unfolding. But even as we confront cosmic immensity, we return to the smallest of questions. What does it mean to exist in such a universe? Our lives are brief against the backdrop of cosmic time, a flicker compared to the burning of stars, a whisper compared to the age of galaxies. And yet, within this brevity, there is depth. We ask questions of eternity, though our lifespans are finite. We dream of infinity, though we live within boundaries. We create meaning where the universe is silent, weaving stories of origin and destiny, purpose and connection. Perhaps this is what it means to be human, to be finite beings with infinite curiosity. The universe does not give us answers easily. It challenges us with mysteries, humbles us with immensity, and yet rewards us with glimpses of beauty. A galaxy seen through a telescope is not merely a swirl of stars. It is a message carried across millions of years, a window into a time when the Earth itself was young. A quasar blazing in the distance is both a question and a revelation, both alien and familiar. To observe is to participate, to become part of the story we are telling. And in that story, every discovery is both an ending and a beginning. There are those who say the universe is indifferent, that it is cold and vast and without concern for us. And perhaps it is. But in another sense, we are the universe, and to be indifferent to ourselves is to miss the point. We are the voice of the cosmos speaking back to itself, the eyes of galaxies turned inward, the consciousness of starlight made aware. In this light, the indifference of the universe becomes something else. An invitation to make meaning, to create, to cherish the improbable miracle of awareness. The stars may not care for us, but through us, they are cared for. Through us, they are named, remembered, loved. So we stand at the edge of knowledge, gazing outward and inward at once. Our tools will grow sharper, our maps more detailed, our theories more refined. Yet no matter how far we reach, there will always be mystery ahead, like the horizon that recedes as we walk toward it. This is the nature of the journey. The cosmos is not a puzzle to be solved, but a symphony to be experienced, an ocean to be sailed, a story to be lived. And though the universe may one day grow cold and silent, though the stars may fade and the galaxies scatter, in this moment, it is alive with light, and so are we. Humanity stands at the shoreline of an ocean we have only just begun to touch. For most of history, the night sky was a distant canvas, a silent spectacle of light. But now, with rockets and telescopes, with instruments sensitive to the faintest signals, we have taken our first steps into the cosmos. These steps are small compared to the immensity that lies beyond, yet they mark the beginning of a journey that may stretch across millennia. To leave Earth is to extend the story of life beyond a single fragile world, to ensure that consciousness is not bound to one planet, but woven into the larger fabric of the galaxy. Our spacecraft travel outward but slowly by cosmic standards. Even the fastest probes move at a fraction of the speed of light. The nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, lies over 4 light-years away, a distance so vast that our current technology would take tens of thousands of years to cross it. And yet, the dream persists. Ideas of generation ships, carrying entire communities across the stars, or of cryogenic voyages where passengers sleep through centuries, continue to inspire both science and imagination. To journey between stars is not merely a technological challenge. It is a reimagining of what it means to be human, to live in time spans measured not in years, but in ages. Perhaps the key will be new physics, propulsion systems that bend the limits of energy. Concepts like warp drives or wormholes remain speculative, yet they are born of the same curiosity that once doubted we could reach the moon. The boundary between the possible and the impossible shifts with knowledge. What seems unattainable today may one day be routine, just as flight was once a myth and electricity a curiosity. The stars wait with patience. Whether we arrive in centuries or millennia, their light will still be shining. If we do reach them, what will we find? Other civilizations may already walk paths we cannot imagine. They may live within the energy of their suns, building colossal structures to capture starlight, or they may drift as digital consciousness, no longer bound to matter as we know it. Or perhaps the silence of the cosmos tells another story, that civilizations burn brightly and then fade, leaving only echoes in the starlight. The Fermi paradox, the great silence, hangs over us like a question carved into the fabric of the night. Where is everyone? The absence of voices may be a warning, or it may be an invitation to become the voice we cannot yet hear. In considering the future, we must also look inward. To carry ourselves into the stars requires more than technology. It requires wisdom. A civilization that cannot preserve its own world may struggle to build new ones. If we are to become a species of many planets, many stars, we must learn balance between growth and restraint, curiosity and caution, ambition and humility. The cosmos is vast enough to hold both our potential and our mistakes, but it is within us to choose which we will leave as our legacy. Imagine a time when human eyes look upon alien skies, moons with oceans of methane reflecting the light of distant suns, worlds where skies glow green beneath atmospheres unlike our own, planets circling twin stars, casting shadows in double arcs across the ground. To live there would be to expand the definition of home, to find poetry in landscapes we cannot yet conceive. And in each new world, we would carry with us not only our bodies, but our stories, our art, our questions, the essence of what it means to be human. The future of humanity in the cosmos is not only outward but upward in consciousness. As we evolve technologically, so too must our vision of ourselves evolve. To see Earth from orbit is to realize its fragility, a pale sphere adrift in blackness, without borders, without divisions. Astronauts speak of the overview effect, a transformation of perspective born of seeing the world whole. Imagine this effect multiplied across generations, across worlds. A species that not only explores but understands its unity, its shared heritage among the stars. And perhaps, in time, humanity will cease to be a single species as we understand it. Life that adapts to other planets will change, shaped by new gravities, new atmospheres, new suns. Some may become unrecognizable to us, not less human, but differently human, branches of the same tree growing in new directions. Evolution, once bound to Earth, will spread outward, carried by our own hands. The cosmos itself will become the crucible of our transformation. But what of the ultimate future? Stars will fade, galaxies will drift apart, and the universe itself may grow cold. Against such a backdrop, our ambitions may seem fragile, our achievements temporary. Yet within that fleetingness lies meaning. To create, to explore, to love, to question. These acts are not diminished by their impermanence. They are made more profound by it. For even if the universe one day falls silent, for a time it sang through us, through our voices, our dreams, our journey into the stars. The destiny of humanity is not written. It is shaped moment by moment, discovery by discovery, choice by choice. To look up at the night sky is to see both past and future, to glimpse the light of stars long dead and the potential of worlds not yet reached. It is a reminder that we are at the beginning of something vast, a story whose pages extend far beyond the horizon. And though we may not know where it leads, we walk forward with wonder, carrying the spark of awareness into the dark, trusting that even in the silence, the universe will respond. Consciousness is the rarest flower of the cosmos. Matter arranged itself into stars and galaxies, into planets and oceans, into forests and eyes, but only in a few corners, as far as we know, did it awaken to awareness. To be conscious is to stand apart from the rushing flow of time and recognize it, to reflect on existence, to ask questions of the infinite. The atoms of our brains were once scattered across ancient stars, drifting as dust in the void. Now they form thoughts, memories, emotions, the quiet fire of self-awareness. Through us, the universe has achieved the miracle of reflection. We are its mirror, polished by evolution and wonder. Science is one expression of that reflection, a language by which we converse with the cosmos. It is not only equations and measurements. It is curiosity given form, a structured way of listening to reality. With it, we measure the faintest quiver of starlight, the bending of galaxies under gravity, the vibration of particles invisible to the eye. Through science, the silent universe becomes articulate. It speaks to us in laws and patterns, in constants and symmetries, in the strange elegance of mathematics that seems less invented than discovered, as though it had always been waiting for us to understand. And yet, science alone does not complete the picture. Where science measures, art interprets. Where equations describe, poetry evokes. Together, they weave a tapestry of meaning. The first humans who drew constellations across the night sky were engaging in both art and science, charting patterns while telling stories. To see Orion not only as a cluster of stars but as a hunter, to imagine the Pleiades as sisters, was to place the cosmos within the human heart. Even today, music, painting, literature, and film serve as ways of exploring the same mysteries. They do not replace science but complement it, translating discovery into emotion, transforming data into awe. Perhaps the future of our journey among the stars depends on this union. A civilization that travels across light years will not only need technology, it will need meaning. For what use is reaching another world if we do not carry with us the sense of beauty, of connection, of story? To build cities under alien skies, we must bring more than machines. We must bring music, memory, and myth. These are the anchors of identity, the bridges that keep us human even as we evolve into something new. As consciousness expands, so too does its capacity for empathy. To recognize ourselves as stardust is to recognize that we share a common heritage not only with every human being, but with all life. The tree, the bird, the ocean, the mountain, all are composed of the same atoms, following the same laws, part of the same story. To extend this empathy outward, to potential life on other worlds, is to prepare for a future where humanity may encounter the truly alien. If we can see ourselves in the unfamiliar, if we can love what is different as we love what is known, then we may be worthy participants in the wider community of the cosmos. But even if the universe is silent, even if we are alone, the act of searching transforms us. To build a telescope that peers billions of years into the past is to stretch imagination itself. To send a probe into interstellar space is to declare that curiosity is stronger than fear. To teach children the names of constellations is to plant seeds of wonder that may grow into futures we cannot foresee. The search is itself a form of meaning. Even without final answers, the journey affirms that we are awake, that we are listening, that we are capable of asking questions worthy of the stars. The philosophy of infinity is not easy to hold. To imagine endless time, endless space, endless possibility is to confront our own smallness. And yet, in that smallness lies a paradoxical greatness. A single conscious mind, however brief its span, contains within it galaxies of thought, universes of memory and dream. The brain is a cosmos in miniature, neurons firing in constellations, thoughts moving like comets across its dark interior. Perhaps in every consciousness there is an echo of the larger universe, a microcosm that reflects the macrocosm. To explore inward is as vast a journey as to explore outward. The questions we ask may never be fully answered. What is the ultimate nature of reality? Why is there something rather than nothing? Is consciousness fundamental, or is it an emergent property of matter? These questions hover like stars beyond our reach, guiding us though we may never touch them. And yet they matter because the act of asking shapes who we are. It draws us beyond survival, beyond instinct, into the realm of wonder. It reminds us that life is not only about existence, but about meaning, about the search for a deeper connection to the fabric of all things. In the far future, consciousness itself may evolve beyond forms we can imagine. Perhaps we will merge with machines, extending thought into silicon and beyond. Perhaps we will discover new dimensions of mind, ways of perceiving the universe that today are hidden from us. Perhaps consciousness is not bound to biology at all, but can inhabit stars, fields, or even the structure of space itself. Whatever the path, the essence will remain. The drive to know, to imagine, to wonder. This is not merely a trait of humanity. It may be the signature of consciousness itself, wherever it arises. Thus, the story of the universe is not only written in galaxies and stars, but in minds and hearts. Each thought is a ripple in the vast sea of being. Each dream is a bridge to the infinite. Each act of curiosity is a spark of light against the dark. And though we may never reach the end of the journey, though the horizon forever recedes, it is in the walking, the searching, the wondering, that we find our place in the cosmos. The universe we know may not be the only one. What we see through telescopes, the billions of galaxies scattered across space, may be but a single bubble in an infinite ocean of worlds. This idea, the multiverse, is not fantasy but a possibility suggested by mathematics and the strange logic of quantum mechanics. If true, it means that the cosmos is not only vast, it is endless in ways our minds can scarcely hold. Each universe could have its own laws, its own constants, its own rhythms of creation and collapse. Some may be barren, lifeless expanses where stars never ignite. Others may be rich with galaxies and life forms utterly beyond imagination. And among them, here we are in one where the balance is just right, where atoms assemble into suns, planets, oceans, and thought. The quantum world is the seedbed of such speculation. At its smallest scales, reality refuses to behave like the solid, predictable stage we see around us. Particles exist as probabilities, waves of possibility that collapse into certainty only when observed. Entanglement links particles across vast distances, as if space itself does not separate them. These behaviors defy intuition, yet they are the foundation of everything. The ground beneath us, the breath in our lungs, the light from the stars. If the cosmos at its base is not fixed but fluid, not determined but open, then perhaps the universe itself is one of many outcomes in a greater wave of possibility. Some cosmologists suggest that new universes bud from the old, born in the hearts of black holes or in the froth of inflation at the dawn of time. Others imagine an eternal cycle, where creation and destruction follow one another without end, universes blossoming and fading like flowers in an infinite garden. The details are uncertain, and perhaps will always remain so, for by definition other universes lie beyond our horizon. Yet even the possibility expands our imagination. To live in a multiverse is to recognize that existence itself may be boundless, that what we see is only a fragment of an unfathomable whole. But even within a single universe, time stretches toward eternity. When we peer into the future, we glimpse fates that stagger the mind. Stars will exhaust their fuel, galaxies will dim, black holes will evaporate in whispers of radiation. If expansion continues without end, the cosmos will thin into a dark sea, where matter itself may decay, and even memory dissolves into silence. Some call this the heat death of the universe, the final quiet of all things. And yet, in another vision, collapse may return, a great contraction, a cosmic heartbeat where everything that is drawn outward is one day pulled back in, only to explode again in a new beginning. In such a vision, eternity is not stillness but rhythm, not silence but music repeating across ages. Philosophy finds itself drawn into these vistas. For what is eternity if not a mirror in which our finite lives seem both fragile and luminous? To know that the universe may endure for trillions of years beyond us does not make our moment meaningless. On the contrary, it lends urgency. Our days are short, and that brevity makes them precious. A sunset, a song, a glance, a question. These small moments shine more brightly against the backdrop of infinity. Just as a single star can light the dark of night, so too can a single conscious life illuminate the immensity of time. And yet, eternity may not be only beyond us. In the quantum fabric, time itself is not absolute. Past and future blur, cause and effect entangle, and the flow we experience may be only a shadow of a deeper order. Some physicists imagine all moments existing at once, the universe as a block of spacetime where every second is eternal, where birth and death, beginning and ending, coexist forever. If so, then nothing is ever truly lost. Every thought, every motion, every life remains inscribed in the grand architecture of reality, forever woven into its timeless fabric. The search for such truths is not only scientific but existential. For millennia, humans have asked, what lies beyond death? What is the nature of being? In the silence of the stars, these questions find new forms. Perhaps immortality is not a personal continuation but participation in the eternal. The knowledge that the atoms of our bodies endure, that our actions ripple through generations, that our thoughts are part of the great unfolding. Perhaps eternity is not something to be reached, but something already here, in the awareness that gazes out upon the night sky and feels wonder. If the multiverse exists, then our universe is but one story among countless others. But even if this is the only universe, it is enough. To live in a cosmos of such scale, beauty, and mystery is to dwell in a cathedral beyond measure. Its pillars are galaxies, its ceiling the dark of space, its music the radiation of stars. To stand in it is to be at once humbled and exalted, small yet immeasurable, finite yet part of eternity. And so we continue to look outward, to listen, to dream. For the universe does not speak in words but in silence. And within that silence lies an invitation. To ask questions is to answer the call. To imagine is to participate in creation. To wonder is to be alive. Whether we live in one universe or many, whether time ends or repeats, whether the silence hides others or confirms our solitude, the journey itself is the meaning. The search is endless, and in that endlessness lies its beauty. There are moments when science becomes indistinguishable from art, when the universe itself appears less like a machine and more like a painting. Nowhere is this more evident than in the glowing expanses of nebulae. Clouds of dust and gas, illuminated by the fierce radiance of nearby stars, bloom across space like brushstrokes of unimaginable scale. The Orion Nebula, seen through a telescope, is a cradle of suns, yet it resembles a luminous flower suspended in eternity. The pillars of creation, towering columns of gas sculpted by radiation, stand like cathedral spires, their outlines dissolving into starlight. To gaze upon them is to witness both creation and destruction in the same breath, a beauty born of chaos, a harmony born of fire. Star fields, too, are works of art. To the naked eye, the night sky is a scattering of points, but with the aid of telescopes, it becomes a sea of diamonds, endless and shimmering. Each point is not a star but a sun, each sun surrounded by planets, each planet a potential stage for stories unknown. In photographs taken from orbit, we see galaxies overlapping, their spiral arms interwoven like strands of silk. We see arcs of light bent by gravity, mirroring the distortions of a cosmic lens. We see colors invisible to the human eye, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, translated into hues that reveal hidden structures. The universe paints with a palette broader than any artist has ever held. Gravitational waves add another dimension to this cosmic symphony. They are ripples in space-time itself, vibrations born from the most violent events. Black holes colliding, neutron stars merging, entire suns collapsing into silence. When first detected, they confirmed predictions made a century earlier, proving that the fabric of reality itself is elastic, capable of ringing like a drum across billions of light years. To detect such waves is to listen not with ears, but with instruments tuned to the heartbeat of existence. It is as though the universe is not only seen, but heard, a music without sound, a rhythm without melody, a song written in curvature and motion. Even silence carries beauty. Between galaxies, in the great voids, there is no light, no sound, only emptiness stretching across unimaginable distances. Yet even here, beauty resides in contrast, for the silence magnifies the song. The darkness makes the stars shine brighter. The emptiness makes the presence of galaxies more profound. Like pauses in a symphony, the voids are part of the music, spaces that allow the notes to breathe. Without emptiness, there would be no form. Without silence, no song. Art, at its core, seeks to capture what cannot be said, to give form to the ineffable. In this sense, the universe itself is the ultimate artwork, vast and ever-changing, filled with patterns too large and too subtle for any one observer to perceive in full. Symmetry governs the laws of physics, yet within that symmetry lies variation, texture, imperfection, the very qualities that make beauty possible. A star's flare, a galaxy's spiral, a comet's arc, each is a brushstroke in an endless mural, each transient yet eternal when seen against the span of time. Perhaps we respond to this beauty because we are part of it. Our minds evolved to perceive patterns, to find meaning in shapes and rhythms. The same neural circuits that delight in music and painting resonate with the elegance of starlight. When we look upon a nebula and feel awe, we are not imposing meaning upon the universe. We are recognizing a kinship, an echo of order and harmony that we ourselves embody. Just as the atoms of our bodies were forged in stars, so too were the structures of our minds shaped to resonate with the universe that birthed them. The aesthetic of the cosmos is not limited to the visible. Infrared light reveals newborn stars hidden behind veils of dust, glowing like embers in a dark hearth. X-rays uncover cataclysms invisible to ordinary sight. Jets of matter streaming from black holes, shock waves from supernovae carving vast cavities in space. Radio waves reveal structures spanning millions of light years, filaments of plasma threading through clusters of galaxies. Each wavelength adds another layer to the portrait, another instrument to the orchestra, another color to the canvas. The cosmos is not one artwork, but many, layered atop one another, infinite in depth. There is also elegance in simplicity. The curve of a planet's orbit, the arc of a comet across the sky, the delicate balance that holds Earth in its path around the sun, all are forms of quiet beauty. To calculate the orbit of a moon is to discover a hidden geometry, a harmony that connects mathematics with motion. The equations of physics, far from being cold abstractions, are lines of poetry written in the language of the universe. To understand them is to read the score of a symphony too vast to be played in one lifetime. In contemplating this beauty, we find ourselves transformed. Awe is not passive. It shapes perception, expands empathy, deepens consciousness. To see the cosmos as art is to live with a sense of wonder that infuses every moment, from the fall of light on a leaf to the glow of a galaxy. It is to recognize that existence itself is aesthetic, that being is not only functional but beautiful. This recognition carries with it a responsibility, to preserve beauty where we find it, to cultivate it where we can, to honor it as a truth no less important than survival. Thus, as science advances, it does not diminish beauty but amplifies it. The more we know, the more the cosmos astonishes. A photograph of a galaxy is not less beautiful for knowing the physics of its spiral arms. It is more beautiful because knowledge deepens our sense of scale and connection. Understanding the mechanics of a supernova does not lessen its grandeur. It reveals the deeper story, the chain of creation that makes life possible. Science and art, far from opposing one another, are partners in the same endeavor. To witness, to understand, to celebrate the infinite canvas of existence. The universe is not only a place, it is a story. From the moment of its birth, every particle, every force, every star and galaxy has been part of a narrative unfolding across billions of years. It is a story written not in ink but in gravity and light, in the dance of atoms and the pull of time. We are characters within it, but also its narrators, giving voice to events that otherwise would remain silent. To see the cosmos as story is to recognize that meaning is not imposed by us alone. It emerges from the continuity of creation, from the way matter evolves into life and life into awareness. The earliest chapter began with simplicity. Hydrogen, the lightest element, dominated the newborn universe, drifting in vast clouds. Helium followed, born of the first fire. For hundreds of millions of years, the universe was dark, filled only with gas, expanding and cooling. Then came the first stars. They lit up the darkness, burning with ferocity, living short, brilliant lives before collapsing into supernovae. Their explosions seeded the cosmos with heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. With those ingredients, new stars formed, and around them planets took shape. Each star system was a sentence, each galaxy a paragraph, each cluster a chapter in a growing epic. On Earth, the story took a new turn. Oceans became laboratories of possibility. Molecules found one another, bonded, and gave rise to patterns capable of copying themselves. These patterns, over time, became cells. Cells joined into communities, forming tissues, organs, and eventually creatures that could move, sense, and remember. Evolution wrote its verses slowly but with persistence, shaping wings to cross the sky, fins to traverse the seas, eyes to capture light. Each adaptation was a word in the language of survival, a phrase in the unfolding tale of life. Civilization added another dimension. When humans first looked to the sky and traced patterns in the stars, the story began to be told in myth. Constellations became heroes and beasts. Maps of the heavens became maps of meaning. Cultures inscribed the cosmos with stories of gods and origins, weaving their own existence into the larger narrative. Stone circles aligned with solstices, pyramids pointed toward stars, calendars tracked the movements of planets. The sky was a library, and humanity read it with reverence, translating light into memory. Later, science reshaped the narrative, not by replacing myth but by adding depth. Telescopes revealed moons orbiting distant worlds, galaxies beyond our own, the expansion of space itself. Microscopes uncovered the hidden kingdoms of cells and molecules, the very engines of life. Physics spoke of forces invisible to the senses, uniting the falling of an apple with the orbits of planets, the spark of lightning with the glow of the stars. With each discovery, the story grew larger, the plot more intricate, the characters more numerous. And through it all, one theme persisted: the interplay of simplicity and complexity, of order emerging from chaos, of life rising from dust. Every civilization adds its own chapter. The Sumerians who charted the skies, the Greeks who imagined the music of the spheres, the Arab scholars who preserved and expanded knowledge, the modern scientists who measure gravitational waves. Each is a voice in the chorus of history. We inherit their questions, their maps, their symbols, and we add our own. The spacecraft we launch, the detectors we build, the questions we pose, these are the latest verses of the same poem. The story has no single author. It is written collectively, across cultures, across centuries, across planets. And the story is not finished. Our chapter is young, and its direction uncertain. We live at a moment where we can trace the past with remarkable clarity, yet can only speculate about the future. Will we remain bound to Earth, or will we spread to other worlds, carrying our stories with us? Will our descendants read the light of galaxies yet unseen, or will the tale end here, on this fragile sphere? The uncertainty is part of the narrative itself. Every story is suspenseful when lived in the present, every chapter pregnant with possibility. To see the universe as story is also to recognize the role of memory. Stars remember in light, carrying their past across space. Atoms remember in structure, carrying the imprint of ancient furnaces. DNA remembers in sequences, carrying the wisdom of survival. And human culture remembers in words, music, art, science. Fragile, yet enduring across generations. Memory binds past to present, allowing continuity in a cosmos where all else changes. Through memory, the story persists, even as its form evolves. But beyond memory, there is imagination. The ability not only to recall what has been but to envision what might be. Imagination allows us to stand on a shore and picture oceans unseen, to gaze at the stars and dream of worlds not yet discovered. It bridges the gap between what is and what could be, expanding the story beyond the boundaries of knowledge. Without imagination, the narrative would be static. With it, the tale grows infinite. The multiverse, interstellar journeys, the future of consciousness. All these are products of imagination, seeds that may one day become new chapters. And perhaps, in the end, the universe itself is a storyteller. Its language is physics, its metaphors are galaxies, its rhythms are cycles of birth and death. We are among its listeners, translating its vastness into human terms, adding our own voice to the chorus. To tell the story of the universe is to participate in it, to weave our brief thread into the cosmic tapestry. And though we may be small, our telling matters, for without us, the story would be silent. Through our words, our thoughts, our wonder, the universe learns to speak. The stories of humanity are not meant to remain confined to one small planet. Already, we etch them into metal and crystal, placing them aboard probes that sail into the dark. The Voyager golden record spins silently in interstellar space, bearing greetings in dozens of languages, the laughter of children, the sounds of wind and ocean, and the music of our species. They are fragile emissaries, destined to drift for millions of years, perhaps never to be found. Yet they testify that even in our infancy, we long to add our voice to the greater narrative of the cosmos. Imagine, then, a future in which civilizations across the galaxy, or across many galaxies, choose to share their memories. Each would bring its own songs, its mathematics, its visions of beauty, its questions of meaning. Together, they could form a library not of one species but of many, a cosmic archive that grows richer with every encounter. Such a library would not be housed in stone walls or metal shelves, but in the very fabric of the universe. Streams of light encoded with knowledge, networks of information carried on quantum entanglement, records etched into the structure of space-time itself. It would be a memory woven into the cosmos, indestructible as the stars. Our myths of a universal language, of a Tower of Babel undone, may one day be fulfilled not through words but through mathematics and music, the patterns that all consciousness can recognize. A pulse of prime numbers, a harmonic series of tones, the shared geometry of circles and spirals, these are alphabets written not by culture but by nature. They are the bridges across which civilizations might exchange their voices. And through them, the cosmos would cease to be silent. It would become a choir, countless voices resonating in harmony and dissonance, weaving a story that no single world could compose alone. If such a chorus arises, it will carry not only triumphs but sorrows. Civilizations fall as well as rise. Their ruins may drift in silence long after their voices fade. But even loss has its place in the narrative, for to remember is to honor. In a cosmic library, the songs of vanished peoples would remain, echoes preserved against forgetting. Their failures would serve as warnings, their achievements as inspirations, their questions as reminders that curiosity is universal. In this way, the dead would speak to the living, and the living to those yet unborn, across gulfs of space and time. What role will humanity play in such a future? Perhaps we will be among the younger voices, offering our early songs, our first attempts at understanding. Perhaps our art will seem naive to older civilizations, as a child's drawing seems simple beside a master's painting. Yet even simplicity has beauty, and every voice adds resonance to the whole. To share our laughter, our music, our dreams is to affirm that we have lived, that we have wondered, that we have dared to imagine beyond the horizon of our world. Technology itself may become the pen with which this library is written. Already we encode vast archives on strands of DNA, on crystals smaller than grains of sand, on beams of light that travel without end. One day, entire histories may be carried in a single photon, entire civilizations stored in the quantum spin of particles. The library would not decay but expand endlessly, each civilization adding new chapters, each chapter extending the chorus. To contribute would be not merely an act of pride but of belonging, a recognition that we are part of something larger than ourselves. But beyond the mechanics lies the philosophy. Why tell stories to the universe at all? Because meaning multiplies when shared. A poem read aloud resonates differently than one kept in silence. A song sung in chorus carries further than a solo. In sharing our stories, we weave connection. In connection, we find purpose. The cosmos may not need our voices, but through them, it becomes alive to itself. Through the telling, the universe learns what it means to be known. There is also the possibility that the cosmos itself is already such a library, and we have only begun to learn how to read it. Perhaps the patterns in cosmic radiation are messages, the structures of galaxies records of thought. Perhaps the laws of physics themselves are inscriptions, codes left behind by civilizations unimaginably ancient. To learn to read the universe as text is to expand storytelling beyond language, beyond symbol, into the very foundations of existence. If so, then every act of observation is also an act of reading, every discovery a recovered fragment of an older tale. One day, perhaps, humanity will contribute not only with words or sounds but with acts of creation on cosmic scales. We may sculpt matter and light, build structures that shine across galaxies, arrange stars into patterns visible for millions of light years. Such creations would be art and story alike, visible not only to our descendants but to anyone who looks upon the sky. A Dyson sphere around a distant sun, a ring of light spun across the void. These would be sentences written in the alphabet of engineering, poems composed in the dialect of stars. And if all civilizations, near and far, one day add their verses, the universe itself would become a chorus of memory. Not silent, not indifferent, but resonant with meaning. Each voice distinct, yet all part of the same great song. Each story finite, yet together forming an endless narrative. The cosmos would be a cathedral of voices, each echoing within its vast halls, each harmonizing with the others, each adding to the beauty of the whole. In such a vision, the ultimate destiny of the universe is not decay, nor collapse, but story, the eternal act of telling and retelling, of remembering and imagining. Humanity carries many kinds of memory, not only equations and measurements, not only the geometry of orbits and the chemistry of stars, but also the quieter, more fragile expressions of what it means to live. A song whispered in the dark, a poem inscribed on fragile paper, a painting that captures the glow of dawn. These are as much a part of the cosmos as galaxies and nebulae, for they are the inner reflections of the universe upon itself, translated into human form. If one day our voices travel beyond Earth, it will not be only data we send, but music and art, for these are the truest symbols of our inner light. Music has always looked upward. Ancient flutes carved from bone echoed the calls of birds and the wind of the night sky. Chants rose around fires beneath constellations. Symphonies filled cathedrals built to mirror the heavens. Rhythm is universal, the heartbeat of life, and harmony is resonance, the blending of voices like stars aligned. To send music into the void is to send part of the soul, vibrations that can outlast civilizations. A simple melody, carried on radio waves or inscribed in crystal, may be heard long after we are gone, a fragment of humanity drifting between stars. Poetry, too, holds power. A poem is the distillation of wonder into words, a vessel of thought small enough to carry yet vast enough to contain the infinite. Poets have always reached for the cosmos, for the moon, for the stars, for eternity itself. To write a poem is to speak to the silence, to shape language so that it reflects both the world outside and the universe within. Imagine a library of poems floating through interstellar space, each verse a spark in the dark, each line a bridge between solitude and connection. Even if no ear ever hears them, the act of sending them affirms our place in the story. Visual art adds another voice. From cave paintings that traced constellations to canvases filled with galaxies of imagination, art gives form to awe. The strokes of a brush, the curve of a sculpture, the pattern of color on stone. All are records of perception, moments when a human mind reached outward and brought back something luminous. If preserved in forms that can survive across millennia, these images would serve as windows into our consciousness. A nebula painted by hand and a nebula captured by telescope are not opposites, but complements. One reveals how the universe looks, the other how it feels. Science itself is also art. The equations of Einstein, the diagrams of Darwin, the charts of Kepler, they are not only records of discovery but works of beauty. A formula that unites electricity and magnetism is as elegant as a sonnet. A map of the cosmic microwave background is as profound as a mural. To future civilizations, our science may appear primitive, but it will still speak of curiosity, of the hunger to know. Science is poetry written in the alphabet of nature, and like poetry, it survives because it speaks not only of truth but of wonder. Together, art and science form a chorus, each strengthening the other. Art gives science a voice that stirs the heart. Science gives art a foundation that endures. To carry both into the stars is to carry the fullness of what it means to be human. Without science, we could not reach the stars. Without art, we would have no reason to go. The two are twin flames, guiding us outward, reminding us that exploration is not only about survival but about meaning. When we imagine a cosmic library of civilizations, humanity's contribution will not be measured only in technology. It will be measured in the songs we sing, the stories we tell, the beauty we create. These things may seem fragile, yet they endure. A melody can outlast empires. A story can carry wisdom across centuries. A painting can preserve a vision when all else fades. They are the most resilient of treasures, for they speak to something universal. The need to express, to connect, to remember. Perhaps, in the distant future, travelers from another star will encounter our records. They will hear our music, see our art, read our science, and in them find echoes of their own. They may recognize in us not strangers but companions, fellow seekers gazing at the same sky. In that moment, our songs will not be ours alone. They will become part of the greater chorus, woven into a tapestry of countless voices. And through them, humanity will live on, not in flesh but in resonance, not in stone but in story. And if no one ever finds them, if our songs drift unheard, our art unseen, our science unread, still they will matter. For in sending them, we affirm that we are more than survival, more than biology. We are beings of wonder, of imagination, of meaning. The universe may be indifferent, but through our creations we declare that indifference is not the final word. Beauty, curiosity, and love are our reply, our offering to the infinite. Whether heard or not, they shine, and their shining is enough. So humanity, in all its complexity, carries forward a voice that may one day join a cosmic choir. A voice fragile, imperfect, uncertain, yet beautiful because of its imperfection. A voice that sings not only of what we know, but of what we dream. A voice that, in the vast silence of space, is a spark of light, a ripple of sound, a testament that for a time, on a small planet under a yellow sun, the universe awakened and spoke. Among the countless worlds that drift through the galaxy, there is one that glows with oceans and clouds, with forests and deserts, with life in endless variety. Earth is small by cosmic standards, a speck of rock and water circling an ordinary star. Yet in its smallness lies a miracle. For here, the raw elements forged in stellar fire have arranged themselves into rivers and mountains, into coral reefs and songbirds, into minds capable of love and thought. To look at Earth from space is to see not only a planet, but a rare oasis, a fragile flame in the vast dark. The pale blue, as Carl Sagan once described it, is more than a poetic image. From billions of kilometers away, Earth shrinks to a pinpoint, indistinguishable from a star. And yet that pinpoint holds every story ever lived, every dream, every triumph, every sorrow. All of human history, all of art and science, all of language and culture, unfolded on that tiny stage. The perspective is humbling, yet also profound, for it reminds us that rarity is not weakness, but value. The small can be immeasurably precious. The fragile can be immeasurably strong. Earth is not only our home, it is our origin. The minerals in its crust, the water in its oceans, the air in its skies, all are part of the larger cosmic cycle. Comets may have carried water here. Supernovae may have seeded its soil with heavy elements. The gravity of the moon may have stabilized its tilt, giving rhythm to its seasons. In every sense, Earth is the child of the cosmos. And in turn, it became the cradle of consciousness, the place where matter learned to question itself. To care for Earth is not sentimentality. It is reverence for the very stage that allowed the universe to become aware. The biosphere is a symphony. Millions of species coexist in intricate webs of dependence. The oxygen we breathe is exhaled by plants. The food we eat is the energy of the sun, transformed by leaves into sugars, passed through soil, root, and flesh. Life is not isolation but interconnection. Each being is part of a larger pattern, and to harm one thread is to weaken the whole. The Earth teaches us that survival is not competition alone, but cooperation, balance, and harmony. Its ecosystems are not accidental. They are wisdom written in green, in water, in the flight of birds. And yet, for all its beauty, Earth is vulnerable. Its atmosphere is a thin veil, barely a film compared to the size of the planet. Its climate, delicate and dynamic, can be shifted by small changes in balance. Its forests can fall, its oceans warm, its species vanish. To stand on Earth and imagine that it is unshakable is to forget how rare and contingent it is. Planets without life are abundant. Planets with life, as far as we know, are vanishingly rare. To neglect Earth is to gamble with a treasure that the cosmos itself took billions of years to create. Caring for Earth is more than survival. It is philosophy. To preserve its forests is to honor the silence that gave birth to us. To protect its oceans is to protect the memory of life's first beginnings. To live lightly upon its soil is to recognize that we are not owners, but guests. For we may travel one day to other planets, terraform deserts of rock into gardens, spread life where none existed before. But there will only ever be one Earth, the original, the irreplaceable, the birthplace of mind and meaning. The image of Earth from orbit has already begun to change our consciousness. Astronauts speak of the overview effect, a profound shift that occurs when the planet is seen whole, without borders, floating in darkness. Nations vanish, conflicts dissolve, and only unity remains. The Earth is one, alive and breathing, fragile and luminous. To see it in this way is to awaken to responsibility. The realization that to harm the Earth is to harm ourselves, to divide it is to divide our own story. Perhaps, as humanity spreads outward, this awareness will become the foundation of a new ethic, a planetary identity that precedes any other. Earth's role in the cosmos is unique not only because of life but because of consciousness. Here, the universe tells its own story, through us. Here, atoms born in stars arrange themselves into words and equations, into paintings and symphonies. Here, the cosmos looks back at itself and whispers, "I am alive." If consciousness exists elsewhere, it too may tell its own story. But Earth is the place we know, the first place where silence broke into song, where matter learned to wonder. That makes it sacred, in a sense deeper than religion, in a sense as vast as existence itself. And so, as we dream of stars, we must not forget the soil beneath our feet. To leave Earth is not to abandon it, but to carry it with us in memory, in culture, in seed and song. Other worlds may become our homes, but Earth will always be our origin, our anchor, our first teacher. To love it is not only to preserve the past but to prepare for the future. For how we treat Earth will shape how we treat every world we encounter. The ethic of care must travel with us, or our future among the stars will be empty of meaning. In the grand cosmic story, Earth is a fleeting chapter. Stars will burn, galaxies will collide, universes may rise and fall. But within this chapter lies something extraordinary. The blossoming of life and thought, the flowering of awareness, the creation of meaning. To protect Earth is to protect that chapter, to allow it to continue, to give future generations the chance to add their own verses. For if the universe is a book, then Earth is one of its most luminous pages. To lose it would be to tear a chapter from the story of existence itself. The first steps into the wider cosmos begin close to home. The moon, Earth's constant companion, has circled us for billions of years, its face unchanged, its silence unbroken. Yet it has always been part of our imagination. It pulled the tides, guided migrations, inspired myth and poetry. And when humanity first set foot upon its surface, it became more than a distant light in the night sky. It became a place, a landscape under our feet, a horizon where the Earth itself rose in the distance like a fragile jewel. The footprints left there are more than impressions in dust. They are symbols that humanity is capable of reaching beyond itself. The moon is barren, yet it is not empty. Its soil is rich with resources, oxygen locked in minerals, water ice hidden in shadowed craters, metals scattered through its crust. It may one day become a base, a stepping stone for journeys deeper into the solar system. Its low gravity makes it an ideal launch point, a harbor for ships that would cross interplanetary space. To live there, even in small outposts, would be to learn how to build new worlds, how to endure where nature has not prepared a home. It would be practice for the stars. Mars, the red world, holds a stronger allure. Once it had rivers, lakes, perhaps oceans. Today it is cold, its air thin, its deserts endless. Yet traces of its past whisper of possibility. Rovers wander its plains, sampling its soil, seeking fossils of ancient microbes. Orbiters map its valleys and canyons, capturing landscapes as dramatic as any on Earth. To dream of Mars is to dream of becoming a multi-planet species, of planting seeds of life where silence reigns. Colonies may one day rise beneath domes, powered by sunlight, sustained by recycled air and water. Children may one day be born beneath a sky where two moons hang, where Earth is but a bright star on the horizon. If that day comes, humanity will no longer belong to one world alone. Beyond Mars, the giants wait. Jupiter, immense and restless, is a world of storms. Its great red spot a hurricane that has raged for centuries. Its moons form a miniature solar system. Volcanic Io, icy Europa with its hidden ocean, Ganymede larger than Mercury, Callisto scarred and ancient. Among them, Europa holds the greatest promise. Beneath its frozen crust lies a sea kept liquid by tidal forces, a dark ocean where life could thrive. To explore it would be to search for a second Genesis, a discovery that would forever change our place in the cosmos. A single microbe found there would tell us that life is not unique to Earth, that it may bloom wherever conditions allow. Saturn, adorned with rings like no other, is a planet of majesty. Its icy bands stretch for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, delicate and shimmering, yet fragile, destined to fade over time. Among its moons, Titan stands apart. Shrouded in a thick atmosphere of nitrogen and methane, it has rivers and lakes of liquid hydrocarbons, a landscape eerily familiar yet alien. To walk on Titan would be to stand in a place where rain falls not as water but as methane, where seas lap against shores under an orange sky. It is a world that reminds us that nature's creativity is far greater than our own imagination. Uranus and Neptune, the ice giants, are distant and mysterious. Their atmospheres swirl with storms in colors of turquoise and cobalt. Their interiors hide secrets of pressure and chemistry that we do not yet fully understand. Neptune's moon Triton orbits backward, a captured wanderer from the Kuiper belt, with geysers of nitrogen erupting from its surface. These far worlds whisper of the richness still undiscovered, reminding us that even within our own solar system, mysteries abound. And beyond them lies the Kuiper belt and the scattered orbits of dwarf planets. Pluto, once considered the ninth planet, revealed itself through the eyes of New Horizons as a world of mountains of ice, plains of frozen nitrogen, and a heart-shaped region that speaks of geological activity. It is not a dead rock but a dynamic world, proof that even at the edge of sunlight, the cosmos holds surprises. Other icy bodies drift there, worlds yet unnamed, each a fragment of the solar system's birth, each carrying secrets of our own origins. The solar system is our neighborhood, yet it is vast enough to occupy centuries of exploration. To journey through it is to practice for the greater journey beyond. Each world is a lesson. The moon teaches us endurance, Mars teaches us adaptation, Europa teaches us humility before the possibility of other life, Titan teaches us imagination, Pluto teaches us patience in discovery. Together, they are a curriculum in becoming a cosmic species. But there is also philosophy in these journeys. For to step onto another world is to redefine what it means to be human. When the first settlement rises on Mars, humanity will have written a new chapter in its story. When the first probe dives into Europa's ocean, we will learn whether life is a singular miracle or a universal pattern. When we map the ice giants, we will understand more of how worlds are born and how they die. These are not only scientific milestones, they are existential ones. They reshape our identity, our sense of place, our vision of destiny. Perhaps one day, children will memorize not only the names of Earth's continents, but the names of worlds where people live: Mars, Europa, Titan, and beyond. They will grow up with skies unfamiliar to us, with horizons painted in colors we have never seen. Their myths will be new, their constellations different, their sense of home expanded. Yet in their voices we will hear our own. The same curiosity, the same longing, the same dream carried forward. The solar system is not the end, but it is the beginning. It is the bridge between Earth and the stars, the threshold between the known and the infinite. To explore it is to prepare ourselves not only technically but spiritually, to stretch our imagination as well as our machines. For every crater we map, every ocean we probe, every ring we study, we take another step in the great unfolding story of the universe. And in doing so, we affirm that the silence of space will not remain unbroken, that the stars will not remain distant forever, that humanity will continue to walk forward, one world at a time. At the center of our solar system burns a star, ordinary in the census of the galaxy, yet extraordinary to us. The sun is a fusion engine, a sphere of plasma sustained by gravity and pressure, transforming hydrogen into helium in a cycle that has endured for billions of years. Its light, crossing the void in just over 8 minutes, warms the oceans, drives the winds, nourishes the forests. Without it, Earth would be a frozen, lifeless rock. Every meal, every breath, every heartbeat is a gift of the sun. It is not only a star, it is the foundation of all life we know. The sun's story is written in its light. Within its core, protons collide in nuclear fusion, releasing photons that take thousands, even millions of years to reach the surface. When they finally emerge, they scatter into space, a ceaseless flood of energy, bathing planets and moons alike. That light paints rainbows, reflects from rivers, and ignites photosynthesis, transforming lifeless molecules into the intricate patterns of life. To trace the origin of a leaf is to trace a photon back to the furnace of the sun. And yet the sun is not eternal. It is a star of middle age, about halfway through its stable life. In billions of years, it will exhaust the hydrogen in its core. The balance of forces will shift, and the sun will swell into a red giant, engulfing Mercury and Venus, and perhaps Earth itself. Its light will change, its heat will surge, its radiance will become destructive rather than sustaining. In time, it will shed its outer layers, leaving behind a white dwarf, a dense ember, the last memory of a once brilliant star. Around it will drift the remnants of its radiance, a planetary nebula glowing like a ghost in the dark. The cycle of stars is the cycle of all things: birth, life, death, and transformation. For humanity, the sun is both a protector and a challenge. It shields Earth with its magnetic field, but it also lashes out with solar storms, surges of charged particles that can disrupt satellites and darken entire cities. To study the sun is not only to understand our origins, but to prepare for survival. Our future, whether on Earth or on other worlds, will always be linked to stars, for they are both our benefactors and our boundaries. To learn their language is to learn how to endure. The sun also carries symbolic weight, woven into our cultures. It is the giver of life in myths, the eye of gods, the eternal flame around which civilizations shaped their calendars and rituals. To rise with the sun is to participate in an ancient rhythm, one that guided farmers and sailors, kings and poets. The same star that rises each morning above us also rose upon the first humans who looked at the sky in wonder, and it will rise upon generations yet unborn. It is continuity made visible, a bridge across time. Yet perhaps the greatest gift of the sun is the reminder that stars are not eternal. Knowing its future forces us to think beyond the present, to imagine survival not as permanence but as adaptation. The sun's eventual death will compel humanity, or whatever consciousness descends from us, to move outward, to seek other stars, to continue the story elsewhere. In this way, the sun is both cradle and catalyst, nurturing life and one day urging it to leave. This fire is not only warmth, but destiny. The universe is vast, mysterious, and unending in its wonders. From the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, from the silence of voids to the music of gravitational waves, it tells a story greater than any we could invent. And within that story, Earth shines as a fragile oasis, the sun as its guiding star, and humanity as a voice that has only just begun to speak. We are the listeners and the narrators, the children of stardust who look upward with questions and dreams. The cosmos does not answer in words. It answers in light, in silence, in time measured across billions of years. To hear it is to recognize our place, small, brief, and yet filled with meaning. For in the act of wonder, in the courage to explore, In the decision to care for our world and reach for others, we transform the silence into song. The story of the universe continues, and through us, it is aware of itself. We are not the end of that story, but a beginning. The horizon recedes, the questions multiply, the mystery deepens, and still, we walk forward. Beneath the stars, carried by their light, we carry the flame of curiosity into the dark. And in that flame, the universe finds its voice.